Ethan Crowley dropped it to his knees in the snow, rifle slipping from frozen fingers. 6 children huddled before him. The world seemed to tilt. The wind still screamed. But Ethan heard nothing. His body had moved before his mind. Knees buried in snow. Hands empty. Breath shaking. The children did not run. They did not scream. They only stared. The oldest girl stood slowly. Her legs trembled, but she stayed upright. She placed herself in front of the others, like a shield made of bone and will. Ethan stayed where he was, on his knees, lower than her, lower than he had been in years. Behind her, the younger ones clung together. One child coughed. Another did not move at all. The cold was everywhere, inside skin, inside breath, inside memory. For years, that was how long Ethan had been alone. For years since the sickness, since the graves, since the silence that never left. The girl spoke. Her voice was thin, but it held command. Do not come closer. Ethan nodded slowly. I will not. One small child whimpered. A sound so we could barely reach the air. Ethan removed his gloves, then his coat. He placed it in the snow and pushed it forward. You are freezing. The girl did not look back at the others. Save them first. That was when Ethan understood. This child had already chosen to give herself away. He crawled forward on his knees, never standing, never towering over her. He lifted the smallest boy. The weight shattered him, not because it was heavy, but because it was not. When he reached for the girl, she finally stepped forward. Her body swayed, almost falling. Her words were barely sound. If you leave us, we die. Ethan pulled them close, stayed on his knees, and let the storm break against his back. The storm did not ease when Ethan Crowley gathered the children. It grew angrier, like it resented being defied. Snow struck his back as he stayed low, one child in his arms, another clinging to his coat, the oldest girl walking beside him, never letting go of the others. The smallest boy was barely breathing, each breath shallow, each rise of his chest uncertain. Ethan reached his horse slowly, every movement careful, measured. He lifted the children one by one, settling them against the saddle, wrapping them in his coat, in his body, in his warmth. The oldest girl refused to climb up. She shook her head. I walk. Your feet are bleeding. Ethan said. She looked at him, eyes sharp. If I sit, you leave me behind. Ethan knelt again, right there in the snow, never rising, never towering. I will not leave, he said. Something in her face cracked, just a little. She climbed up behind him, her arms locked tight around his waist, like if she loosened her grip the world might take her. The ride through the storm felt endless. The wind screamed. The horse struggled. Ethan leaned forward, shielding the children with his body. The ranch lights finally appeared, dim, real, like something imagined. When they reached the house, Ethan carried them inside, one by one, setting them near the fire, hands shaking, heart pounding. Warmth hit them hard, too hard. One child cried. Another collapsed. The smallest boy did not wake. Ethan moved fast. Fire built, water heated, blankets pulled down from shelves untouched for years. The house filled with sound, coughing, whispers, breathing. The oldest girl stayed standing, watching, counting, making sure no one disappeared. Food came next. Simple. Bread. Soup. Ethan ate first. Just a few bites, then pushed the bowl forward. Only then did they eat. Slow. Careful. Like food was a trick. After a long silence, the girl spoke. Why did you stop? Ethan stared into the fire. Because once, someone did not stop for me. She watched him closely, then nodded once. Night fell heavy. The storm still raged outside, but the walls held. The children slept close together, even with beds available. They chose the floor. Safety in numbers. Ethan sat awake, rifle nearby, watching the fire burn low. The girl approached quietly, her step soft, measured. What is your name? She asked. Ethan Crowley. She considered it. then said, "I am Mara." "Mara," he repeated. She looked toward the others. "They are all I have." Ethan nodded. "And now you are here." She hesitated, then said words that settled deep in his chest. "Do not make promises you cannot keep." Ethan met her eyes, steady, unblinking. "Then I will make fewer promises, and keep all of them." Mara sat near the fire, close enough to feel warmth, far enough to run if needed. Outside the storm howled, but inside something else began. Not peace, not yet, but the beginning of it. Morning came without sunlight. The storm had buried the windows, turning the house into a quiet cave of breath and shadow. Ethan woke where he sat, back against the wall, fire reduced to embers, rifle untouched. For a moment, he did not remember why he was there. Then he heard it, soft breathing, small movements, life. The children were still asleep, all except Mara. She sat near the window, watching the white outside, her face unreadable. "You did not sleep," she said. "Neither did you." Ethan replied, "Sleep is for when things are safe." She said. Ethan stood slowly, careful not to startle anyone. He added wood to the fire, set water to warm. When the smell reached them, the younger one stirred, eyes opening, fear flickering, then easing. Food came again, thicker soup, more bread. They ate faster now, still careful, but hungry in a way that could not wait. After they ate, Ethan checked their hands, their feet, bandaged what he could. The smallest boy was burning with fever. "How long has he been like this?" Ethan asked. "Since before the snow." Mara answered, "We kept him walking." Ethan swallowed. "He should not have been walking. We did not have a choice." Ethan nodded. He understood that language. By midday, the storm weakened. The wind quieted. The world outside still buried. Ethan stepped out to check the horses, the fence, the land. When he returned, Mara was standing in the doorway. "Where does this road go?" she asked. "South, to town." She looked at the others, then back at him. "Will you take us back?" Ethan did not answer right away. "There are people looking for you," she said. "I know." "Who?" Ethan asked. "Men who say they own us." Ethan felt heat rise in his chest. "Nobody owns children. They have papers," she said. Ethan knelt, again, on the floor this time. So they were level. "Listen to me," he said. "Whatever those men say, you are not going back." Mara studied his face, searching. "If they come," she said, "you will give us back." "No," Ethan said. Her jaw tightened. "People always say no until guns show up." Ethan did not look away. "Then they will have to go through me." Silence followed, heavy, uncertain. One of the younger girls moved closer to Mara, another to Ethan, lines being drawn without words. That afternoon, Ethan taught them names of things, of animals, of land. They listened, learned, watched. The smallest boy coughed until he slept again. Ethan sat beside him, wiping his forehead, talking quietly. "You are safe," he said, "even if the world says otherwise." Mara watched from the doorway, always watching. As evening fell, she spoke again. "If they come, I will fight." Ethan looked at her, at the weight she carried. "You should not have to." She lifted her chin. "I already have." Ethan nodded slowly. "Then if you must fight, you will not fight alone." Mara did not smile, but something eased in her shoulders. That night the fire burned stronger. The wind stayed away. And for the first time, the children slept without waking in fear. Ethan stayed awake anyway, because safety, he knew, was something you guarded, not something you trusted. And somewhere deep beneath the silence, trouble was already moving toward them. Trouble arrived before the sun. Ethan was already awake when the horses shifted in the yard. Not restless, alert, he rose slowly, pulled on his coat, checked the rifle. Outside the snow was quiet, too quiet. Then he saw them, tracks cutting through the white, fresh, deliberate. Mara was at his side before he could speak. "They are close," she said. How many? Ethan asked. More than one, she answered. He moved the children into the back room. Low voices, calm hands. No one cried. No one argued. Mara helped without being told, positioning the younger ones, keeping them silent. Ethan stepped onto the porch. Rifle low, visible. 3 men appeared from the tree line, horses steaming, faces hard. Morning, one of them called. We are looking for something that belongs to us. Ethan did not move. Nothing here belongs to you. The man laughed, pulled a folded paper from his coat. Contracts. Legal. Signed. Ethan shook his head. You can take your paper and leave. The second man spat into the snow. Those kids are worth money. Do not be stupid. Ethan felt the heat rise again. That deep, dangerous heat. Leave. Now. The third man looked past him, toward the house. The girl is here. I know she is. Before Ethan could answer, Mara stepped forward, right onto the porch. Her small body straight, her voice steady. We are not property. The men froze. One stepped closer. Girl, you do not understand. I understand, she said. Better than you. Ethan raised a rifle, not aiming, but ready. You heard her, he said. Leave. The men hesitated, not because of the gun, but because of the house, the town road, the risk. They backed away slowly, muttering threats, promises. This is not over. Ethan did not reply. He stayed there until they were gone, until the tracks disappeared. Inside the house, the children waited. Mara searched his face. You did not give us back. No, Ethan said. She nodded once. Then her knees gave out. Ethan caught her, held her steady. For the first time she cried, silent, shaking. I thought, she whispered, I thought it would always end the same. Ethan knelt with her on the floor. Not this time. That day they packed what little they had. Food, blankets, hope. Ethan made a decision. We go to town. He said, people need to hear this. Mara looked uncertain. What if they do not listen? Then we keep going, he said, until someone does. The road south was hard, but clear. For the first time, they were not running. They were moving forward, and that made all the difference. The road to town felt longer than the storm, not because of distance, but because of fear. Every sound made the children flinch. Every rider in the distance made Mara step closer to the others. Ethan kept the pace steady, not rushing, not slowing. The smallest boy rode against his chest, still weak, but breathing easier. By the time the town appeared, the sun was high. Smoke curled from chimneys. Voices carried on the wind. Life, normal life. The children stared like they were looking at another world. Ethan brought them straight to the sheriff's office, a low building with flags snapping overhead. The sheriff was an older man, weathered, sharp-eyed. He listened, did not interrupt. Mara spoke. So did the others. Each word heavy, each truth earned. The room grew quiet. By the time they finished, the sheriff removed his hat. Those men have been circling this county for years, he said. Never had proof, never had voices. Now you do. The papers they carried did not hold. Not here, not under daylight. Deputies were sent, messages carried. The children were taken to a warm room, fed, watched. Ethan waited on a bench, hands shaking now that it was over. Mara sat beside him. You could have left us, she said. I know. You did not. Ethan nodded. That night, they stayed in town. Beds, clean sheets, light. None of the children slept much. Neither did Ethan, because tomorrow meant decisions, courts, questions, and fear did not disappear just because the storm ended. But something else had taken root. Hope, not loud, not easy, but real, and it was enough to keep going. The hearing took place 3 days later. The room was small, but it was full. People from town, men with notebooks, women with folded arms, all listening. Mara stood straight. Even when her voice shook, she told them everything. The walking, the hunger, the men with papers and threats. The others spoke too, one by one, each story adding weight. Ethan stood behind them, not speaking, just there. When it ended, the judge leaned back, silent for a long moment. "These children are not returning to those men," he said. The words fell like warmth. The papers were torn, the contracts dismissed. The men were arrested, not all of them, but enough. Outside the courthouse, the children stood blinking in sunlight, free in a way they had never known. "What happens now?" Mara asked. Ethan looked down at her. "That depends on you." She thought for a long time. Then she said, "We want to go home." Ethan nodded. "You already are." They returned to the ranch that evening. The land wide, the air clean. The children ran, laughed, shouted. Mara stayed close to Ethan. That night, she sat beside the fire, quiet. "You know what I said in the snow?" she asked. He nodded. "I meant it," she said, "but I do not mean it anymore." Ethan waited. "If someone has to give everything," she said, "it should be the bad ones, not us." Ethan felt something loosen in his chest, something he had carried too long. "You are right." She leaned against him. Just for a moment, the fire burned low, the house warm. Outside, the wind moved gently. No longer a storm. And Ethan Crowley, who had dropped to his knees in the snow, found himself standing again, not alone, not empty, but surrounded by 6 lives, and a future worth protecting.